Housing Development Program. Number one and the best. Housing Development Program. Number one. Number one. Housing Development Program. Number one and the best. Housing Development Program. Number one. Housing Development Program. In Nigeria. Housing Development Program. In Africa. Housing Development Program. And the globe. Number one. Housing Development Program.
It is yet another beautiful day to discuss housing in Nigeria. As always, I am your housing diva, Fleur Oni. Housing delivery and infrastructure development are fundamental necessities for the economic growth of any nation. However, the provision of these essential services on the required scale to meet demands remains problematic for most countries and governments worldwide. The lack of adequate supply of housing and infrastructure project finance has been identified as a major obstacle to such development. Studies have shown that the existing conventional finance and banking structures are unlikely to provide adequate funding streams necessary to address the acute shortage of housing and infrastructure, particularly in developing countries. This is Housing Development, the program that advocates for the provision of decent low-cost housing for all. Let's see the current happenings in the housing sector. I will be right back.
Amidst an impending housing crisis in the country, the Housing Development Advocacy Network, HDAN, has appealed to the federal government to declare a state of emergency in the housing industry. This urgent plea follows the recent uncovering by the Lagos state government of numerous dwellings beneath the Dolphin Estate Bridge in Ikoyi, Lagos. These makeshift under-bridge apartments totaling 86 partitioned rooms and ranging in size from 10 by 10 to 12 by 10 were rented out to occupants at an average annual rate of 250,000 naira each. HDAN appeals directly to President Tinubu's administration, urging for a more pragmatic approach to address the housing situation nationwide. This is owing to the fact that the discovery by the Lagos state government mirrors the housing deficit in Nigeria. Africa's largest housing and construction exhibition and conference, the Africa International Housing Show, is set to take place in a larger venue than the International Conference Center, ICC, in Abuja, Nigeria. Some of the reasons the Africa International Housing Show, AIHS, must move to a larger venue include rapid growth in participation, space limitations at the current venue, ICC, an opportunity presented by the closure of the ICC for renovations, the necessity for enhanced facilities, and the aim to ensure smooth operations and accessibility for all attendees. Over the years, the AIHS has experienced rapid growth, evolving from just 20 exhibitors to now accommodating over 400 exhibitors as of the last count in 2023. This surge in participation reflects the increasing interest and investment in Africa's housing and construction sector.
Full details of the news, do well to visit www.africanhousingnews.com. Today we shall be starting with a resident of the Dubaino community located at Durumi 3 in the Federal Capital Territory. Let's get to see their living conditions. Do they have basic amenities that help to make their life easy and comfortable? Are these basic amenities available for them? Well, let's find out as we take a trip there.
Residents of Dubaina community, popularly known as Durumi 3 in the FCT Abuja, are living the fate of abandoned people. Inhabitants of the community maintain that besides electricity supply, the entire community has not enjoyed any other government presence. Unsanitary conditions and poor drainage systems is the order of the day in the community. Distressingly, the community predominated by the Bagi tribe, popularly known as Gwari, is situated behind the Gadua estate and is just a stone throw from the affluent Apo legislative quarters. The village head of Dubaina community Durumi 3, Chief Bawa Iya, gave us a brief history of the people and the community.
My name is Chief Bawa Iya. I'm a village head for this community. This community is the river names Dubaina Dormitory. Dubaina Dormitory is mean there's a tree before my father is alive. There's some tree that they call Dubai. That's why when we came here, we put that name Dubaina. That's the history of Dubaina. This community, we are over 100 something years.
Education is an important issue in one's life. It is the key to success in the future and to have many opportunities. The children of Dubaina community have been denied the opportunity to have a conducive environment to learn. The only government-owned school in the community lack quality facilities, conducive and learning space. Part of the school premises is now a place for refuse dumping. A visit to LEA Primary School, Dubaina Durumi 3, gave us an insight into the plight and challenges the teachers and pupils encounter on a daily. Esther Yerima, who is Assistant 1 at the school, expressed most of the challenges facing the school.
The school needs enough teachers. We are shortage of teachers, in fact. And secondly, toilet, children's pupils' toilet.
So you mean there's no toilet, there's no convenience?
There is no toilet for the pupils.
So how do the pupils ease themselves when
they used to go to the bush and toilet themselves. The toilet that teachers are having is not enough for the people to contain the people.
Cephas Kenneth Akpata, who has lived in the community for more than 5 years, expressed his dissatisfaction with the lack of drainage systems in the community and lack of clean water. He also mentioned that the cost of living in the community is below average and not up to standard.
Living condition, I won't love to say is a bit pathetic, being that one, hygiene. There are no proper drainage systems and all of that because it's just like a sub-town, you get. And for example, water. Even though we pay for the water, but it's one man's business. That man decided to make boreholes and give people water, so we pay.
The refusal of the government to provide basic amenities and basic comfort for residents of Dubaina community in Durumi 3 has resulted in the residents, through community efforts, to make the environment a bit habitable for them.
resident of Dubena community there. For sustainable housing delivery to be a reality in Nigeria, strategic investment in housing infrastructure and housing finance is non-negotiable and must be fully encouraged by the government, as it is the foundation for economic growth and improved standard of living of the populace. Talking of infrastructure, after the break, I will be joined by Goodwill Ogwefi to discuss the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway project. Stay with Housing Development.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Huh? What is it again?
Oga, and they drive this car, my mind no dey. My landlord is on my neck.
Your landlord again? I thought I have told you this before. Get a mortgage, register with NHF scheme, and get a home up front. What is so difficult about this?
Oga, I will do just that. See, I will shame that my landlord. Mortgage.
At the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, everyone deserves a home.
Hello and welcome to the program. This is the conversation on housing development. Today we shall be discussing the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway. The Coastal Highway is projected to cost 15 trillion naira and is to transfer 8 states starting from Lagos and terminating in Cross River State. Now this ongoing construction of the highway has generated both criticisms and praises for the federal government from different sections. Joining me after the break is Mr. Goodwill Ogwefi. He's a public affairs commentator. Let's go for a short break. I'll be back.
Get credible and authentic housing news at your fingertips by downloading the Housing TV mobile app. You can also join Africa International Housing Show live from across the globe through the Housing TV mobile app. The mobile app features live streaming, housing news. You can also locate the AIHS venue via the app, network with AIHS seasoned speakers, as well as live chat. Download the Housing TV mobile app now from Apple Store and Google Play Store. Don't forget to click on the notification button, available for both iOS and Android users.
Welcome back. I'm being joined by Mr. Goodwill Ogwefi, a public affairs commentator. Good to have you in the studio, sir.
You're welcome, madam.
All right, so now let's look at, in terms of priority, at the gaps and major economic and challenges of how much importance is this project, the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway? How much importance is it to Nigerian economy? How can this project add value to our economy at this time?
Obviously, the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway project is a good one. It should have been something government should have looked at yesterday. The concept of a major highway that traverses north, south, east and west has been there since colonial times. And one of the popular commissioner of finance in those days in 1955, Festus Okotie Ebo, was first rumored to be the person who came up with the concept. So this project is good because first, those major highways is both a rail and a road highway, connecting cities and towns and states across many states from north to south. It is believed that the first major part of this will begin from Lagos, connect some major parts of Lagos to another part of Lagos, and then from there move down to Ogun, Ondo, and from there move towards the south to towns, states like Bayelsa, Akwa Ibom, Rivers, and then terminating in Calabar. Mind you, this is connecting train, vehicular movements, people, and then also bringing them access to the sea. Of course, you know, Calabar has one of the major long beaches in West Africa. Some of the, I think one of the popular beaches there is over 30 kilometers in length. And just by the easy movement of goods and services across the north and south of Nigeria, that is a major breakthrough. The second thing it will bring is that you will notice that it will contribute to the GDP. You know, the economic indices used to measure a country's growth over the years, because as you are developing those things, it's contributing to infrastructural investments in that country, building up the economic value of that country, and there will be a lot of jobs created. Imagine all the trains that will be installed on those rail tracks. Imagine the companies that have to service the rail train. Imagine all the train drivers that will be trained. And then you look at the indirect consequence of such a road. Any road network you see, there's a major highways, developed cities.
All right, so you've mentioned the fantastic values this Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway will add to Nigeria's economy. Let's look at the downsides. Many homes and businesses will be affected by this project. Shouldn't the government put this into consideration, you know, considering the huge housing shortfall we have in the country? Yes.
Before you embark on a major infrastructure project like this, government should have done feasibility, EPA, environmental impact assessment, and other analysis that are required. I want to believe that the route this road is following, the feasibility study and other studies must have taken into consideration population centers where people stay and infrastructure. The problem is, do we have a culture of government being obligated to its people? The right thing to do is that having mapped out a road, you know the infrastructures that are there, you factor in the need to compensate where government has overreached. This project was probably approved in Federal Executive Council late last year, October, November, or thereabout. You would expect government to look at people who have infrastructure who before now were not aware that government was going to route a route through that. You look at ways, you take an inventory, you look at hotels, and in some very large human populations where you feel you can, roads can be, the mapping of roads and where they follow can be adjusted. What government needs to do, and this is where the civil society groups need to come in, groups that are pressure groups for government, you need to look at the map of the road along the first phase that is going on. That first phase is running from Ahmadu Bello Way in Victoria Island to the Lekki Free Trade Zone, where the Dangote refinery is situated and the Lekki Deep Sea Port is situated. This is where civil society groups will come in. So government has to look at the issue of compensation now, not later.
All right, so government has to look at the issue of compensation now and then later. Okay, so let's look at the impact this we have on foreign investors. You know, hotels are being demolished right now in Lagos State. What impact would this have on foreign investors coming into the country?
For foreign investors, that will not have major impact if the demolitions show that government is justified or government has adequately compensated the people who were affected. But it can also help the foreign investors from a positive angle. You see, Nigeria is the largest population of black people anywhere in the world. Nigeria has the largest number of young population in Nigeria, in Africa, and so Nigeria sits at a very critical junction for the continent of Africa. Once foreign investors begin to see infrastructure development that looks enduring, for posterity, for our children. And they see this type of project, they already know where you're going. Nigeria can be the free trade zone or where a trading hub in West Africa, and by extension the whole of Africa. So you could also see other indirect projects that will work in tandem with government's goal of building major coastal highways coming in. You can see Nigeria begin to work on its coastal areas and its waterways. Why can't somebody take a speeding boat somewhere from Lokoja to Lagos? Or why can't you move from Calabar to Lagos as a normal mode of transport, not just for trade? So you could see other things can begin to come in.
Have been speaking with Mr. Goodwill Ogwefi on the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway. Now to the building materials industry. The business environment in Africa's largest economy is getting tougher by the day, and the chances of business owners keeping their businesses running are getting slimmer, say some building material sellers. Watch as I speak on this.
The increase in the prices of building materials across the country is no doubt compounding the woes of the housing sector. This is despite the federal government's efforts to ameliorate these challenges by boosting accessibility to affordable housing. The recent hike in the cost of building materials has gloomingly brought a new twist that has dashed the hopes of thousands of prospective homeowners. The rise in the cost of building materials further increases these uncertainties, even as dealers see no end in sight. The fierce exchange rates, inflation, and other factors has sent ripple effects across every facet of the sector.
There's the cutting-edge technology that is coming in. You can see the design, and then the model of houses now is a lot different than what we used to be. You know, so basically there's healthy competition, and then people have to up their game. You know, you have a lot of challenges to deal with, pricing, you know, regulations of government, and all of that as a developer, really, you know. And then for those who have been able to weather the storm, and then they've been able to raise, you know, their own bar to a certain level, you know, I've seen the results. So in the next 10 years, I think the industry would have matured so well, and then the policies of government, like recently there's a new committee to also rejig the entire land use thing and all that, you know, to reform, which is a very good one, you know, very welcoming. I see it as something that can also impact on the industry. And of course, from the developer's point of view, people are now accepting synergy. You know, people are beginning to do things, you know, partnerships that can work, you know, to pull funds together using private equity, you know, to raise funds and all that, which are very good things.
On the part of Nigerians, affordable housing may never become a reality owing to the current economic trends.
One of the most challenging is that sometime when after selling, you are going back to buy, you discover that the price have increased. And some of us that have goods involved, we are trying to clear the amount you are using to clear the goods become high.
The Nigerian economy is affecting every sector, both iron rods, both other sectors of the building material industry. Iron rods, the prices are going up every day uncontrollably. It's the same way it is in iron rods, both cement and other building materials.
You know, the hardship in the country is not something I believe the poor masses should be talking about infrastructure or development or building a house currently, because cost of building materials is on a very high side.
Actually, the country is blessed with mineral resources. The issue of cement is produced in Nigeria, and if cement is rising, that means there's something wrong somewhere. And so if the production of cement is done in the country, and at the same time the price of this cement is rising, there's something somewhere, something is wrong somewhere. So we should check where the problem is coming.
As the year progresses, it remains to be seen how the government combats the prices of building materials.
The program is Housing Development. Infinity Trust Mortgage Bank PLC recently held its 18th annual general meeting in Abuja. Now here's a full report.
Infinity Trust Mortgage Bank PLC, one of the leading and most capitalized primary mortgage banks in Nigeria, recently held its 18th annual general meeting at the bank's headquarters in Abuja. The business of the day was to receive and consider the audited financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2023, together with the reports of the directors, auditors, the audit committee, and the declaration of dividends.
Looking at the performance of our bank, we achieved a 42% increase in profit before tax of 1,203 million compared to 847.1 million in 2022. This means that the bank has remained consistently profitable for 18 years. Our balance sheet also expanded by 23% from 16.7 billion in 2022 to 20.6 billion in 2023, while shareholders' funds grew by 10%, which shows the strength of the bank in implementing our strategy to meet its corporate objectives.
The election of 3 directors who are eligible in accordance with the Nigerian Code of Governance was conducted. Alhaji Abubakar Mohammed as a non-executive director, Engineer Eniola Bibilari as a non-executive, and Mr. James Odegwe Ahmed as an independent non-executive director, while Mrs. Ene Iyana Okwa and Dr. Olufemi Fabonwo were re-elected as directors. Speaking with Housing TV Africa, the acting managing director and chief executive officer of the bank, Ngozi Chukwu, described the contributions of the mortgage sector to the nation's economy.
It's getting better every year. Before now, it used to be very insignificant. Our contribution to the GDP was very low, but with different initiatives, government initiatives, I think they are beginning to take they are beginning to recognize the mortgage industry in Nigeria, and hopefully it will get better. Hopefully we'll get more recognition. Hopefully they would give us the enabling environment that will allow us to create more impact and then definitely add to the bottom line of the country's economy.
Infinity Trust Mortgage Bank PLC has financed no fewer than 30 modern estates in Abuja, thereby providing decent and affordable accommodation to over 10,000 Nigerian families.
Housing is stability, housing is dignity, and we need solutions that are credible, bold, and radical to solve the housing crisis bedeviling the nation. On that note, I end today's edition of Housing Development. Thanks for watching. I remain Flora Ani, your Housing Diva. See you soon.